So today is my 33rd birthday, and I thought, what better way to spend it than sharing with you the 13 dark truths that it took me 33 years to learn. And ironically, I find that these are all things that someone had told me. These are all things that I had heard in YouTube videos, that I had read in books, that I had seen online, but that I had not fully grasped and not fully internalized until these things smacked me right in the face. And I don't wish anything else for you other than that same hard way of learning lessons, because I don't feel that you fully internalize it any other way than when it smacks you right in the face. So I tell you that not to dismiss watching self-help videos, not to just throw the books out, right? Because I think what happens is learning about these things ahead of time before they actually happen to you helps you have a more validated experience when it does happen. You're not so much questioning, okay, what is this? What just happened? Did this person really just do what I think they did? Is this dark thing that I'm perceiving actually a part of human nature? And I think if you hear people say it before you experience it, then the lesson will digest itself a bit more easily, or at least that's what I've discovered in my own perception. So the first one I want to give to you is something that I heard from Kafka, one of my favorite writers. And this took me a second to quite understand. I didn't quite understand it at first. And it says, you can choose to be free, but it's the last decision you'll ever make. And this really hit me hard because I feel that this is something that I've been grappling with the last few years, because I think I spent the early part of my life being very tied down, very tethered to what society wants you to do, what I thought my family wanted to do, what this fake version of me that I had constructed to make others happy wanted. I was very tied to that. And I realized that. When I realized that, I realized that I had to make a conscious decision to be free. You don't just get to be free unless you make that decision on your own. You just don't get freedom. You have to take it. Like, you literally have to say, I'm going to decide to be free, and then take that freedom. Because people, if you don't have a direction, if you don't have somewhere that you want to go, if you don't take that freedom from yourself, other people are going to try and take that from you. They're going to try and use you. They're going to try and use your time, your energy, your talents, and they're going to benefit from that, and you're not. But if you choose to be free, it's the last decision you'll ever make, because every other decision is made within that context. Anything that comes up, there's always that question of, well, does this fit into me being free, or is this going to tie me down, right? And for me, I think that being free is that ultimate goal. And maybe for some people it isn't, and I can't speak to that experience because I don't know that experience. I just know this experience of just constantly needing to have freedom in all aspects of life, in work, in relationships, in anything that I do. And if that's not something you feel, then don't worry about it. The next dark truth is that most people stay blind their whole lives. I think many people choose ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. There's a reason why that saying is so embedded in the culture. Because if you choose to just go through life blindly, if you choose to not pay attention to these things, if you choose to not go deep into yourself and question your own shadow, your own darkness as well, then you can just kind of float through life watching Netflix and working some job that just pays the bills and not quite ever getting to that next stage, never quite leveling up, just kind of being an NPC, you know? And so most people go through life blind. And if you do want to discover these dark truths, if you do want to go into these deeper places within yourself, if you do want to realize what life is about, what's really happening in reality, what human nature is really like, it's going to be a lonely experience, because most people do not want to go down this road. Most people do not want to go on this journey, because it's a lonely one, and it's a tough one, and it's hard to digest. It really is. I feel like over the last few years, like, I had to learn some hard lessons that I think have absolutely changed me. And we will get to those. Okay, so the next one, number 3, work. If you have a job and it's not your passion. Like, YouTube is my passion. I don't make money from this yet. Maybe someday, would be nice. But work, I have a job as well, and work is not, it's not my life. And I've realized that, and I realized the younger version of me put so much emphasis on work and so much emphasis on succeeding at work and making everyone happy, because so much of my self-confidence relied on doing well in these external places. And this definitely started in school. Like, if you're the kid who had to get good grades, if you're the kid who like had to make the teacher happy, then you are probably the person who's doing the same thing at work right now. And the sad truth is, it's nice that you're a good employee. It's nice that you're doing the right thing in your job. It's good for your confidence on some level to know that you could take things on and follow through. But the truth is that if something happens to you, if you get sick, if you leave that job, they will replace you that same day. They'll replace you before you leave, and then they'll make you train that person. Like, work does not really care about you. No matter what you do, it's probably just a system in which they need to have someone in this particular place doing this particular thing, and it's not personal at all. And the people there may like you, and you may have relationships with some of them, but it's not everything. And if work is taking away from your peace of mind, then it's costing you more than they're paying you. And move on, find something else. Like, that's my advice. That's the process I'm in, of trying to work on things that are going to eventually help me gain income, gain a source of living from things that actually are meaningful to me, rather than continuing to go in and work at a job that just doesn't care, that will just replace you in a second. And I think you also have to be careful at work with the people who work there, with the relationships you have with your fellow employees, because not everyone is good, and people will take advantage of that. They'll take your work, they'll take credit for it, they will take something that you say to them in confidence and they'll tell the boss. You have to really, really be careful, I've found, at work with who you befriend and who you don't. I'm not saying you can't make friends with anyone at work. You absolutely can. But I think you have to test the waters with people first. Like, don't be naive, don't be Pollyannish and think that everyone's acting in your best interest, because the people who are going to strategically not act in your best interest are the people who in the beginning are going to act like your best friends. And those are the darkest people. Those are the scariest people. Those are the narcissistic, psychopathic people who will use you for their own benefit. It's sad that those people are out there, but they absolutely are. Trust me. And if you haven't encountered them yet, you will. You will. The next dark truth is that if you need to be liked by everyone, you will be loved by no one. And I think it's sad, because I think that wanting to be liked by everyone comes from a good place. I know that I certainly went through that stage where I wanted everyone to like me, and I didn't mean any bad by that. I wasn't trying to manipulate people. I wasn't trying to hide myself necessarily. I just wanted everything to be cool. I just wanted everyone to be happy. I just didn't want conflict, to be completely honest. I've always had a hard time dealing with conflict. So that's one of the dark things that I've also had to realize, is that conflict is inevitable and you just have to deal with it. But if you want to be liked by everyone, what ends up happening is you just become whoever that person likes. You stop being yourself and you start being what other people want you to be. And then you can't receive any sort of real love because nobody really knows who you are. And if you want to get into a relationship, if you want to have a deeper connection with someone, you have to actually be someone for them to connect with. You can't be some conglomerate of who everyone likes. A little bit of what this person likes, a little bit of what that person likes. It just doesn't work, unfortunately. So the dark truth is you can't make everyone happy. It's just not going to happen. So the next dark truth is that the journey is more valuable than the treasure. And I think there's some sadness to that, and I think there's some happiness to that as well. And I think that the sadness comes in that we all sometimes think that when we get the treasure, it's going to make us happy. And we go we go day to day thinking that if I keep doing this, if I keep going down this road, if I ultimately achieve this thing, if I get this amount of money, if I get this amount of subscribers, if I get this relationship, that you're going to receive happiness, that you're going to receive whatever it is that you're looking for. But the chances are that that's not going to happen. But the upside of that is that if you can learn to enjoy the journey, if you can learn to enjoy getting to whatever the destination is that you want to be at, that's even more rewarding, because the journey takes way longer than once you get to the destination, right? Think about if you're in the Olympics. They say this happens with Olympic athletes, that even if you win a gold medal, you end up being very depressed afterwards, because there's sort of all this buildup. There's all this sort of dopamine that builds up to that event, and then it just drops off. Then you're just back to regular life. So you have to sort of realize, okay, if I can mold myself to appreciating certain things, to finding value in certain things, what am I going to find value in? Am I going to find value in the getting, or am I going to find value in the journey to the thing that you want to get? So a dark truth that whatever it is that you want and getting, it's not going to make you happy, but the upside is that the journey can bring you happiness if you can learn to navigate it in that way. The next dark truth is that no one is coming to save you. It's not going to happen. I used to think that it was going to happen. And I think that if you grow up in a family with poor balance, for lack of better words, I think that you kind of have this internalized thing where you think that someone's going to come to save you because that's what was lacking the entire time, but it's not going to happen. And even if someone could save you, you don't want that. You don't want that, because you know what's going to happen? You're not going to learn how to save yourself, and you're going to end up in the same predicament as you were in before. And is that person going to be able to save you again? Probably not, maybe, but what about the next time and the time after that? So, it's a dark truth that you're on your own, that you just got to figure these things out on your own, and nobody's going to come to save you. Even early in my career, I thought, well, one of these days someone's going to pull me aside, and someone's going to tell me the secret. Someone's going to tell me how to navigate this. Somebody's going to tell me how to break through, how to get to the other side of that door. And that, in 33 years, has never happened. And if it does, I will come back to this channel and tell you about it. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think that we're all on our own, and we have to work through these things on our own. We have to figure out our life path. We have to figure out what we want to do. We have to figure out the day-to-day, how to get through the pain of life, the success of life, how to get through all of these things on our own. Because also nobody knows our internal experience as well, right? So the next dark truth, and this one took me. This one's been beating me up for years, and I am still trying to navigate this one. I'll tell you that. You teach people. Sorry, I'm just fixing my mic here. You teach people how to treat you, and I can't tell you how true that is. My instinct was always to just treat people well. I had a people pleaser vibe for so long, and I just wanted to treat everyone well. I wanted to be nice to everyone, and I thought that everyone else felt the same way, that everyone wanted to be nice to everyone else, and that is so far from the truth. That is not true at all. So in the beginning of a relationship with someone, whether it's romantic, whether it's friendship, whether it's work, whether it's a client, whatever it is, family, you name it, if you let that person walk all over you, if you set no boundaries, many people are going to take advantage of that. Not everyone. There's good people who will not, because I couldn't do that. I didn't have it in my heart to do that. I think I was just so concerned, not because I'm such a good person, but because I think I was just so concerned with pleasing everyone that I couldn't even think to take advantage of another person, right? So there's definitely that. So see, even that was a bit, that's even a bit dark, because it's not because I was so good. It was because I just literally, I didn't have it in me, So people will take advantage of you. People will take advantage of you. If you don't set boundaries in the beginning, people will overstep them, and it's very difficult to start setting boundaries with someone after you've basically taught them that they could break your boundaries with no consequences. So set boundaries, learn to set boundaries. It's tough. I'm still learning. I'll admit it. So the next dark truth. People only care about you when they need something from you. This is a hard one. This is a hard one for me to take in as well, because a part of me likes to live in that Pollyannish world of thinking that everyone's good and people aren't using each other. But the truth is that many, many people are, and that there are a lot of people in the world who are very manipulative, and they are out for themselves, and they're not going to take your not even your most basic needs into consideration if they think that they can get their needs met first. So be very careful with who you let into your world. And I think that the first truth that I talked about choosing to be free, I think it ties into this immensely, because once you choose to be free, once you choose to start living for yourself and not living for other people, once you choose to not spend so much time and energy pleasing other people, you're going to notice a shift in many people, because suddenly they can't get their needs met from you. So they realize, oh wait, I'm not going to spend my time on this person. I'm going to spend my energy on this person. Once you aren't giving them what they need, they will very quickly turn off and try to go and find someone else who will give them what you need. I found there's absolutely people you can have genuine connections with. 100% have friends, have genuine connections, but it's not everyone. Not everyone, for sure. It's not even most people. I think most people do not know how to have a genuine connection. I think that most people are so unaware of their own issues and so in need of things from other people, validation, self-confidence, financial support, whatever it is. Other people are so in need of that from others that they can't have a genuine connection because their basic needs aren't met. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't know if you've heard of that. Look it up. If you haven't, look it up. It's basically a pyramid. And at the bottom is the basic needs like food, shelter, water. And once you have those, you can move on up and get other things like connection, transcendence, enlightenment, all of those things. But many people are they're at the absolute bottom. They don't have those basic needs met. So they can't have any sort of connection with you. It's just not going to happen. So again, be careful with who you let into your life. Be really careful. Be slow to let people in. Don't give people the keys right away to your psyche. Don't do it. So the next one is that the world is not fair. Life is not fair, and I think that once you realize that, it becomes a little easier to move forward. I think it takes a second to digest it, and I think that the younger version of me, and maybe of you as well, just wanted things to be fair, because in many things, when you're growing up, I think many things kind of are fair, or were brought up under the illusion that things are fair and that things should be fair. Like we play board games and our parents try to keep things fair. The school tries to keep things fair. We're in many situations in which there is fairness, or at least the illusion of fairness, or at least the illusion that there is someone there keeping things fair. I'm laughing because that rhymed, and I didn't mean to do that. Like if you played sports, there was a referee, there was an umpire, right? And they're supposed to keep the game fair. And as any sports fan knows, that very often backfires. But as a child, you get this sense of security thinking, oh, there's someone there. There's someone there watching and making sure everything goes right, making sure that the game is fair, making sure that life is fair, making sure that nobody cheats. Well, that is not the case. And as you get older, I think you learn that life isn't fair, and many people realize this and take advantage of it and will do things for their benefit that screw everyone else over. You have to really be careful of those people. A lot of this is just about the percentage of people in life that are very selfish. And I think that saying one bad apple spoils the bunch really, really hits the nose on the head. because at least that's my experience. And like I said, like I have a lot of really great relationships with people. I have a lot of really good experiences with people. But the people who are highly manipulative and highly out for themselves will just try to destroy you and will try to wreck you in whatever way they can. So the next one. The next dark truth is that loneliness is better than being in the wrong company. And it goes right back to those people that I'm talking about who are highly manipulative and who are just going to be bad company and bring you down. And there's that saying, birds of a feather flock together, right? Like, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. It's so true. It's so true. And I realize that more and more in life. And it's just really encouraged me to have good friends, to be friends with people who align on the side of truth, who are good people, who are going to be honest with you, who are going to look out for you. And being a good friend sometimes means saying things that may be uncomfortable. And it's not to hurt your friend at all. Sometimes it's to save them, because sometimes, like, we all have blind sides. We all don't realize that we're doing something that's going to hurt us down the line. And if you have a good friend who you really trust and you build a trust with them over time and they tell you that, you should take into consideration what they say. That's not as dark of a truth. That's more of a good truth, but you have to really build those relationships to be able to have that with someone, to be able to even have that amount of trust with someone, or at least that's what my experience has been. But being in the wrong company will absolutely make you lonely in a way that's worse than being alone. I would much rather be alone than in a room with people who are on a completely different frequency than I am. It's less than lonely. It's painful on a different level, because you kind of have to just conform a little bit to just get through those interactions with those people. And for me, it's extremely painful. Like, I'd rather just walk away and not deal with that at all. So the next dark truth is that failure is inevitable and it's necessary. And I grew up being a little bit of a perfectionist, not from a stance of, oh, I'm so hardworking or I'm so intelligent, or no, it was really, again, it's back to the people pleasing thing of wanting to be perfect, of wanting everyone to think I'm doing well, and then also of just having low self-esteem to the point where any little mistake is just so in your face and just gets so ingrained in your psyche that it makes it very difficult to move on. At least that's how I felt when I was younger. And then I just kind of realized over time that mistakes are going to happen and they're inevitable and you're going to learn from them. They're so much more valuable than the times you don't make mistakes. I've learned more in the times that I've made mistakes than I have in times when things were easy, in times when things were going well. So, if you're a perfectionist, it's hard to hear that you're going to have to make mistakes, but it's absolutely necessary. Okay, I got two more for you. If you've made it to this point in the video, seriously, thank you. Thank you for listening. It's great. Happy you're here. Okay, so the last two. Most people don't change. And I think I mentioned earlier that most people stay blind their whole lives, and I think that this truth is a little different, because I think many times there's another group of people who notice their shortcomings, and they notice the ways in which they're harming other people, and they notice the ways in which they're showing up in the world in a very unproductive and unhelpful way. And they choose to continue doing that. And I think that change is very painful. If you think about birth, right? If you've ever seen a baby being born, which is it's not a pretty sight to see. And what happens when the baby comes out? They're crying, like wailing, screaming, because birth is painful. It's extremely painful to go through these things and try to come out the other end. And that's absolutely what I've been going through, like learning all these things and trying to be different and trying to integrate them and trying to still be a good person despite knowing all of the darkness that's in the world, despite knowing everything that's out there that wants to hurt you. And if you're a sensitive person like I am, there's like, it's like everything, you know, it's like everything on some level. But I think if you can get to the other end of that, life can be so much more beautiful and so much more rewarding. And when you choose freedom, you can start to mold your life in a much more acceptable manner for yourself. But it's gonna be painful. It's gonna be painful. And I think that kind of change to most people is unbearable. They can't handle it. They just cannot handle it. And it's difficult. It's very difficult to face yourself, to face the things about yourself that you don't like. And that's absolutely something that I'm going through right now, that I'm trying to do in my life, is just see the insecurities that I have, see the problems that I have, see the mistakes that I've been making for years, and like just try to face them and change them. And like it's so difficult. I can't even explain it. Like if you're doing it, you know how difficult it is. And if you're not, you don't know until you start trying. And I think my 20s were definitely all about making those mistakes and being slapped in the face with them so many times. And I think now that I'm in my 30s, now that I've realized these lessons, it is now my job to fix these things, to work on myself, to act on these things. And if I don't, then there's no one to blame but myself. So my 20s were definitely a gift in that I've got all these lessons, but now I have to integrate them. And hey, if you're doing the same thing, please leave a comment. I would love to see what everyone else is up to, what other people think of this. The last one, the absolute last dark truth, is that your mind is your enemy. Your mind can absolutely be your enemy. It can tell you things are true that aren't. It can make you think poorly of yourself. It can keep you in a spiral of rumination. It can seriously keep you trapped. Like, if you stay trapped, it's your mind. It's because of your mind. If you can get a hold of your mindset, you can become so invincible. You can get through anything else. But if you don't get a hold of your mind, that's it. You're not going to make the progress. You're not going to make the progress, because everything I've found comes back to the mind. Everything. Having that mental strength, it's all mental. It's all mental. And if you were brought up in a difficult way, if you face trauma, if you've been going through just hard life circumstances, it's very easy to get in your head. And it's very easy to start beating yourself up and putting yourself down and telling yourself that you don't deserve better, and creating a situation externally and internally that keeps you where you are. So you have to really pay attention to your mind and understand if your mental status, if your mental world is keeping you down. And again, no one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save you. You're the only one that can get ahead of your mind, that can get control of your mind and your mental atmosphere. So, those are the 13 dark truths that I wanted to share with you today. If you made it to the end of the video, leave a comment, because wow, seriously, thank you for watching this. This is a small channel, and any love that I get on this channel really means a lot to me. Reply to all the comments, so leave a comment and I'll reply. Give this video a like. Let me know what your favorite dark truth is in the comments below, or hey, tell me a new one that I don't know. I would love to know what it is that you guys have learned over the years. And again, please subscribe. I can't say that enough. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and your subscription would mean so much to me. So again, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope to see you in the next video.